Ciao, ciao, ciao. Happy Felici Friday, everyone. We made it 90 days into 2022, the 90-day mark, the first quarter of the best year our industry has seen in so long. How are you guys holding up? What is going on in your world? So I wanted to talk to you guys about something that's been coming up because I'm busy with events as well, because I still run my event production company while I'm doing the coaching. And if you guys have been following me for a while, you know I also have a blog uh, for a micro blog here, locally sourced blog for wedding and event professionals, where I promote their business, their awesomeness, and all these amazing venues here. Primarily, the events that I do are more production based. I did a bar mitzvah last weekend, which had a lot of production. I love to do immersive, innovative activation types of events. And boy, it was a dual event day, which I know most of you are going to have because it is the wedding boom of 2022, good to be true. And an opportunity for us to double up on events, do weekday events, really getting creative of how do we service the influx of business. I mean, that's what the wedding boom is about. And I've been talking about the wedding renaissance of 2021. That was 15 months ago, January 2021, of how we really needed to reinvent ourselves, reinvent our business, and take a good look at what we're doing so that we can adjust to what is being thrown at us in this wedding and event boom of, post Corona coaster. And my clients, the people who have been doing things differently, who have adopted this Renaissance mindset and done things differently, you can see that they are leaps and bounds ahead of where they've been and are able to manage all this influx. So I wanted to talk to you guys about today about what you need to do to scale your business quickly. And the reason I say quickly, I'm talking about 30 to 75 days from now, because you have to do it quickly because the boom is here. We just went through engagement season. I know a lot of the country is just on different levels of where this Corona coaster is, but I know here on the West Coast a couple weeks ago, the mask mandate was lifted. Things are truly opening up. And that also opened up the floodgates again of inquiries, and people's calendars are already booked. And every single vendor that I talked to, I went to a networking event 2 nights ago, and everyone's like, oh my God, I'm so slammed, I'm so busy. And they just seem so overwhelmed. And they're, um, wondering how are they going to move forward through this, right? What is it that it's going to take so that they don't have to work 80 hours or more a week in their business, so that they can dot the I's, cross the T's, elevate their business, take care of their clients. I remember talking to one florist who was like, gosh, just the inquiries alone have become a full-time job, just going back and forth with inquiries, calendars, availability, all of this kind of thing. So just because we are busier doesn't mean that we're going to make more money unless you do these things that I'm going to share with you guys today to scale your business and to be able to do it quickly. So, what I've learned and what I shared introducing in the introduction of today's live, or if you guys received the email or if you've read it here on this invitation for today's live, is that I come from luxury hotels and resorts. I'm very fortunate where I've been able to adopt and adapt. And that's what's led me to be able to run the businesses that I do and to run them well, flawlessly, take care of the clientele, take care of clients, take care of the wedding industry from the blog, and take care of my coaching clients. And that's because I've adopted and used what I learned when I worked for luxury resorts and put it into play in my businesses, set the foundation with some of those fundamental behaviors that I learned when I was super young, just wet behind the ears, got into management, working for luxury properties. And one of the things that I loved doing was opening up hotels and resorts. That really was the path that I thought I was going to take. Ironic that I ended up doing events where you're opening up a new venue, or you're opening up a new restaurant, or whatever. It's like opening up a new thing every event you do. You're getting ready for this grand opening that everyone's gonna, or your guests, your clients are going to experience for the first time. So the universe is funny how it paves the path for you. But that's what I've always enjoyed doing. I really thought I was going to travel the world and open up these resorts. Instead, it chose for me to be in Santa Barbara, that I love and I'm so grateful for, to open up all these events consistently, right? And the other thing that I learned working for for Four Seasons, for luxury resorts, is that when I was with them, they were scaling quickly. They were opening up, I think this was in 98, 40 resorts within the year. So that's a lot to open. So, how do you do that? What is the magic that I can share with you of what they've done? What are those steps? Because opening these teams for luxury resorts meant that if I order, I always talk about the lemon seed story. If I order a lemonade at, the Four Seasons in Scottsdale, and I order a lemonade at the Four Seasons Istanbul, it's going to practically be the same type of service, the same standard operating procedure to get that lemonade together. And that is the key right there, you guys, is the standard operating procedure. Now, this means is that you have to integrate repeatable systems and processes into your business. Because what I'm going to share with you guys here real quick is what is happening right now. Right now, people are just trying to keep up. They are trying to keep up with the influx. They're trying to figure things out as they go along. And if that sounds like you, listen up, because this is exactly the advice that I want to share with you. Because what happens is we as entrepreneurs tend to just say, as problems come up, we're going to fix them. That's what we do. We're entrepreneurs. We fix things, we make things right, we figure things out. I mean, I've coached hundreds of clients, and that's been the mindset behind running the business. And the problem with that is twofold. The problem with, basically what you're doing is you're catching these eggs as they're being thrown at you. Some you catch in your hand, some splat you on the face, on the body, what have you. And instead, what needs to happen, because when you do it this way, especially this year, businesses won't be able to keep up. And when you can't keep up, then you can't grow. And then the problem expands into uh, other aspects of the business, because as entrepreneurs, especially solopreneurs, which a lot of us are, is we want to handle those problems one issue at a time, right? We assume that we'll be able to make the right decisions as we face them. That's just what I found in this industry, and as many entrepreneurs, I'm part of many entrepreneur groups, that's how we figure things out as they happen. And this is why it's wrong, and it's wrong for two reasons. Number one is that it's a reactive way of managing your business. You're waiting for something to go wrong, and then you're going to fix it. And so you're constantly going to be behind the eight ball trying to fix these things, or have to take 5 steps back and put your foot off the gas pedal while you try to fix those things. So it's a very reactive way of conducting business, which is not productive. So that's one. And then oftentimes what happens when we're in that mindset, when we're trying to handle those problems one issue at a time, is that what we're doing is we're just taking care of the symptoms. We're not really taking care of the problems. We're just putting band-aids on what's happening. And the problem continues. And then when the problem continues, we get into overwhelm, lack of trust ensues. Our clients, see us slipping up. The response time is slower. The answers are more curt. They're not correct. You're not dotting the I's. You just don't have that time to really do our due diligence, which is to ensure that those I's are dotted and those T's are crossed. So, what led me to want to talk about this is because I had a mishap experience last weekend. And I'm not throwing anyone under the bus. I'm just sharing with you guys what I've experienced firsthand. And we're just at the very beginning of these stages of the growth, of the boom, of busy season. And that's why it's so important that you guys fix this quickly, right? Because what we need to do to scale our business quickly, if we don't do it quickly, it's going to cost us money. So I had 2 different scenarios, 2 different events, 2 different rental companies, and they both missed the boat. One company just forgot parts of the order. They were not there. We had to wait. We had to rush. We had to stress. Thankfully, we got it done. Thankfully, the client didn't notice, and that oftentimes is the case in events. I mean, that is what we do, and it's okay to try to solve those problems day of as things happening and you're trying to maneuver, but definitely not in your business, right? What if the client had noticed? What were we going to have to do to pivot quickly? Like it just put on a lot of stress. And then the second company, everything was great with the order, just a couple little details got missed. Special client request, and also the pickup was supposed to happen like between 10 and 11, and they didn't show up till 1 in the morning. So then everyone accrued overtime, including myself and my team. So now that's something that I have to dredge up. Again, the client necessarily was not affected, but we were, right? And those relationships, I'm like, oh, do I want to use these rental companies? Like, am I working with the right people? Are they overwhelmed? And I'm the one who elevates these companies, gives business to them, and wholeheartedly believes that they can do the job. But a client is not going to be that way. They've never had a relationship with those people. They've never had another experience. This is a one-time shot with clients. And that is really where it can cost you money, because now what's happening just with these two examples that I shared with you from last weekend is money is being reimbursed to the client. Okay. So not only were they short staffed, were they, like all these things trying to, all this energy to put the event forth together flawlessly, which didn't happen. Now they're also having to shell out money. And that's why it's costing money. So I'm trying to here to interface and not allowing that to happen and sharing with you guys, you can't try to fix it as you go along. Don't wait for these problems to be thrown at you. You really have to stop and create these systems and processes and standard operating procedures so these mistakes don't happen. So what do I mean by that? Is these two examples for me are close to my heart because when I was in luxury hotels, I was the queen. I was known to really set up a lot of systems and processes for the room service departments, in-room dining, as you will. And it's probably one of the hardest positions. I think there's a lot of difficult positions in hotels. Housekeeping, I would never dream of wanting to do that. Front desk, I mean, they're all really difficult, actually. I can't say. But the thing about room service is that there's so many details that go into the one experience. What do I mean by that? Well, let's just say breakfast, just serving breakfast in bed, going to a guest room, serving breakfast. If they only order oatmeal, toast, and coffee, there's like 17 different accoutrements or little side things that need to go along with these three different things. And I always love analogies of food and beverage because I think we can all relate. Even when you go to a restaurant, you sit there and you order your coffee. I've said this story like a million times. There's nothing worse than ordering coffee, being a coffee drinker, waiting to have that first sip. The server pours the coffee, there's no cream, there's no sugar on the table, and now you have to wait for it while you're smelling the coffee. That's really like the wrong thing to do. I'd rather wait an extra minute for the cream, the sugar to be on the table and that hot coffee to be poured, and I can have it right away. Right. So even though it takes an extra minute, me as the consumer, I'm a happier person. That minute to get the cream and sugar after that coffee is poured seems like a lifetime. Does that make sense? So how do we adopt that to our business? So again, working room service, it's about creating these standard operating procedures. What did I have to do then and there? What did I create so that company-wide, these systems and processes and standard operating procedures were creating flawless experience? Because especially when you have the rush, when you're in the weeds, as they say in the restaurant business, everyone's ordering room service at the same time. In fact, one of my experiences I call the Mother's Day massacre because it was daylight savings change and Mother's Day. It was like the busiest breakfast I've ever I'm still traumatized by it. My mom knows about it because I think she was visiting me at the time, and we had just opened up the property, and it was a rough one. It was a really, really rough one while I was implementing these systems and processes. I hadn't been in that department or at that property for more than a couple months, and we thought we'd gotten all the glitches out, and then they happened. So how do you instill these systems and processes? You have to do what's right for you, but you definitely need to have some sort of workflows. You definitely need to have a checklist. You definitely need the space and the mindset to dot the I's and cross the T's, right? As we're getting busier and we have less time to focus on what's in front of us, much less take a look at those things a week prior so that you're not having to make decisions that quickly. So you can say, hey, every Tuesday, I'm going to look over the events for the following weekend, allowing me, excuse me, 10 days before the rental truck gets loaded up. Those kinds of things, right? Um, and what else did we do? So I created basically an order form that anybody could take a breakfast, a lunch, or a dinner order where we knew exactly what questions to ask. And like I said, breakfast is probably the toughest one because there's like 45 questions to ask for one breakfast order. Oh, great. You would like oatmeal. Would you like milk or cream? Milk? Great. Would you like half and half? I mean, sorry. Would you like 2% whole or skim milk? Great. Do you like brown sugar and raisins? Perfect. And that was just one thing. Great. Oh, you'd like coffee? Great. Cream, sugar, or cream or milk and sugar, that kind of stuff, right? And then all those things have to go on the tray. And then the guest is expecting all of those things to be there. There's nothing worse. It's one thing to forget those things tableside at a restaurant where you can go to the kitchen and get it a minute and a half later. But when I worked these properties, that it was like a quarter of a mile round trip from room service to the room and back, forgetting the ketchup for the potatoes, forgetting the side of bacon for the eggs, forgetting the brown sugar for the oatmeal. I mean, that was a bigger deal than you could ever imagine. So really sure, I could fix it right then and there. I could send up that bacon, I could send up that brown sugar. But as I was saying, that's not real. That's taking care of the symptoms. That's not taking care of the problem. So we have to get to the root of the problem, which is having those workflows. What does it look like for you? What are those steps you need to take so that anybody, especially right now when it's so busy, can walk in and do that task for you? And oftentimes, as entrepreneurs, one of the problems that we have is that we think we have to do it alone, right? We think, nope, I don't have time for that. I remember one of my first clients, actually, this was probably about 8 years ago, because I used to run a really well-oiled machine internship program. I love having university students around me, giving them the opportunity. That's kind of how I got into coaching, giving them the opportunity to see what events are about, teaching them learning, them teaching me, because they're young and they're got lots of energy and they have great digital cell phone, digital social media skills. So it was a give. And I love it. But someone asked me one time, how do you do it? And I was like, well, I mean, I have these training manuals and systems and processes. Like, it's a no brainer. And then they train each other. And this particular wedding coordinator said, oh, I don't have time for that. That just sounds exhausting. And where are they now, right? If you didn't have time 4 or 5 years ago to write these training manuals, to just bullet points these systems and processes, this is really the time that's going to be rushed to do it. However, the key is that it is not too late at all. And you don't have to go it alone. The beauty of today is that there is so much automation with personalization that's available to you. You don't have to have other humans necessarily to help you. And typically, automation with personalization really should dot the I's, cross the T's, and create that consistency, because the key to success to anything that you want to do is to be consistent. And there's no better way to be consistent than to create those systems and processes, those standard operating procedures, and have that consistency. And that's where automation with personalization comes in. What do I mean by automation with personalization? Well, certain things can be automated. You know that 2 weeks before an event, you want to send a certain email to the client saying, hey, here's this. This is where we're at now. Let's set up a time to talk in the next 3 days so that we can finalize it. Whatever it is, you probably have a set of emails that you're sending to all your clients at certain times of their planning, no matter what your business is, whether you're a photographer, whether you're a caterer and you want to finalize the menu, whether you're the venue and you want to finalize the diagram and make sure you have all the vendor insurance forms and agreements signed, all of that, right? So that's the automation aspect. And then what do I mean by personalization? Oftentimes this relates also to the client, because no two clients are alike. No two events are alike. No two vendors are alike. So it really has to do with that people skill and incorporating your personality, your secret sauce, your ability to do things a certain way and why people hire you, and adding those to that automation. And you guys, there are so many automation tools out there that can be so helpful. And I know that they're overwhelming. I get it. It is just something else trying to figure it out. But this is exactly why you do not need to go alone. And I'm setting up a automation with personalization workshop. It's a 4-hour workshop for April 4th so that we can finally bust through this together, so that we can set up your systems, your processes, and find the automation tools that are right for you in running your business. It's not just about social media. And I want to be crystal clear on that. This can happen from inquiries, so that you're not having to be bogged down with inquiries, to communicating with your vendors, to communicating with your clients, to marketing your business. There's so many tools available and pretty easy because I give you the cliff notes of what needs to happen so that you don't have to figure it out yourself, and so that it doesn't have to be so daunting. So what do we want to do? We want to set up these systems, these processes, figure out where are those hiccups in our business, what's costing us time, what is costing us money, and how can we fix it once and for all, not just put a band-aid on it. So if you guys are ready to really deep dive into your business, to once and for all work less, have more fun at work, have more impact, charge your worth, and be able to do it over and over and over consistently without skipping a beat, you guys, I have the solution for you. So let's get on a phone call and figure out what's going on with your business, where you're at right now, where those challenges are, how I can help. And you can go to zoefelici.com/apply, and let's get on a free 45-minute phone call. Let's figure out how can we get you to scale your business quickly so that you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to try to figure it out. You don't have to try and then stop and never get to it again. You can stop paying for all these things that maybe you've bought and never used because they seem so daunting. I know, I've done it too. I was gifted a couple automation programs specifically for weddings, and I just never got into it because it seemed daunting for me. But I figured it out. I've cracked the code. I know what works. I know what people need and how to do it, and get it done. Get the cliff notes and be done once and for all so that you are set up for this year, 2022, good to be true, to run your business like a CEO, to do it consistently, to attract the clients that you love, to do the work well, and really elevate and charge the value of your worth, because that is the key. It all boils down to consistency, consistently answering those emails, consistently getting the clients that you want to work with and attract your perfect clients, consistently getting to those inquiries, and consistently running your business so that you get 5-star reviews over and over and over. It is totally possible. It doesn't cost you more time. In fact, it takes less time, and it doesn't cost you more money. In fact, you'll be making more money, and you're going to be loving what you do. You're not going to have those frustrating moments of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to do this again, or that this person's having this challenge again. You really can have the impact that you want. You really can book additional 5 figures per month doing this. And you guys, this is why you got into the business in the first place, because you want to live in your superpower. The reason you got in this business is because you're creative, you're really good at what you do, and you're ready to thrive and instead of survive doing what you love doing without the frustration. So get on a phone call. It's a 45 minutes. You guys, when I do these lives and I tell you guys about applying for the 45-minute breakthrough call, they sell out rather quickly. So go right now, go to zoefelici.com/apply. Let's talk about these systems, these processes, how I can help you elevate your business and elevate the clientele you attract and elevate the work that you do while you're having fun, while you're having impact, and while you're not having to burn yourself out and be in overwhelm while you're doing it. Help you and get all these things underway, because I guarantee you they work. They work for these big companies, for these hotels. I guarantee you they work for solopreneurs, for entrepreneurs, for our creative industry. I've proven it time and time again. All right, you guys, that is it for Felici Friday. It is the last Friday in March. Have a fantastic weekend. I'll see you guys next week as we unveil a little bit more of my coaching program and just some mini courses that I'll be showcasing or rolling out for you guys in the next week or so. Okay, ciao for now. Thank you. Thank you.